Xavier Bryant. I am a pharmacist here in Atlanta, Georgia.
Still?
I'm a pharmacist. Oh, yes, indeed. I'm a pharmacist and an herbalist. I attended Clark Atlanta University, majored in chemistry. I worked at Centers for Disease and Control for a couple years. Yes, indeed. Worked at CDC for a couple years, and from there I went to move on into pharmacy. Obtained my pharmacy degree. Worked at CVS. No, actually worked at Target for a couple years. Worked overnight at CVS, and at the same time, I understood that there was a pathway that I could take for myself in order to, I mean, once you learn the business, once you learn the numbers, once you learn the compliance of the situation, you can actually move into whatever field or that field that you've majored in and open up your own. So I'm all about ownership. But the only way I got to the point of ownership was through a series of failures. I mean, failing chemistry when I was in high school to actually becoming a chemistry major. It was like, okay, that's how my mind formulates everything. Even when I was trying to get into pharmacy school, I was denied. Every single time I was denied pharmacy school, I was denied med school, but then I had that opportunity to get into the Centers for Disease and Control. Even coming out of pharmacy school, there was a couple of failures there. So every time I ended up failing at any particular point in time in my life, I realized that, oh, something amazing is about to happen. This is really that stepping stone for me to obtain my true goals and express my true worth to, whether it's my society, my community, or to the universe. So ultimately, I think everyone needs to understand that when it comes to failing, it's not a grade, it's really an action. If you forget or just decide not to pursue your dreams because of what occurred, now that's true failure. I like to tell my students all the time, a 69 isn't failing. If you had a 100-question test and you missed 31 and you made a 69, that's not failing. Failing is refusing to go back and figure out all the questions you got wrong. If you don't go back and figure out what you got wrong, now you truly missed the entire lesson of the test. What you got right, you got right. What you got wrong is what promotes you. That's where your gems are. That's where your value is. It's what you get wrong. That's the true learning experience. So as an entrepreneur, I've had learning experiences on the financial side. I've had learning experiences on when it comes to employees, when it comes to training, when it comes to marketing. And you always have to be in a space where you want more. I heard once upon a time from Bob Proctor. He stated, it's okay to be dissatisfied. It's very well okay to be dissatisfied. You can be happy with the results, but dissatisfaction, that's the creative ground. That's what allows you to create more when you're not satisfied with those particular results. You hit this particular result, you want that other result. You hit this result, you want to go higher and higher and higher. And it's just about self-development, self-awareness, and building the right team around you to make sure that you're executing properly. So ultimately, that's my story. It's all about failing forward. At any given point in time, if there's something that's not happening properly, get excited. That means you have to think. People don't like to think. If you think, you can think your way into any situation and out of any situation. So why don't you just think yourself into the right situations? That's what I'm saying.
Hey, man.
Now, what kind of business do you operate now?
Oh, so right now, I own the pharmacies. We're developing a healthcare app.
Oh, you own your own pharmacies?
Oh, yes, sir.
Wow.
Yeah. It's about how much are you willing to give of yourself, of your time, of your efforts to society, because there's a law. You know, just like the law of gravity, what goes up must come down. When you give, you will receive. When you receive, you got to give back. And you only receive in the magnitude that you're absolutely giving of yourself. You know, there's a story that says this man was in church and you know, they were passing around the basket to take up tithes, and he had a $20 and $100 bill in his hand, and he accidentally put the $100 bill into the plate, and he whispered to his wife, "Oh, honey, I'm sorry. I know I made a mistake. I just gave him a $100 bill, and I meant to give him 20." She was like, "No, you gave him 20." He was like, "No, I have the 20 here. I gave them the 100." She said, "No, your intention was the $20 bill, so that's truly what you gave." Oh. So when it comes to giving, you gotta make sure you're giving to the magnitude that you absolutely feel on the inside, because you could give $1 million and it only does $20,000 worth of work because your spirit wasn't right when it comes to the actual act of giving. And I've just always wanted to give. I learned early on, the more I give, then the more I'm going to receive. So I was like, tap into that. No, don't tap into money. You tap into money, you won't obtain money. But if you tap into service, which which has a currency exchange, tap into those services. Tap into how much more can you absolutely give. So in my pharmacy, one of the main causes we did were wellness clinics, where we went out to different assisted living facilities, group homes, personal care homes, homeless shelters, and we gave away services. We do this every single week, even still. Free blood pressure, blood glucose, BMI, HIV assessments. Because when it comes to healthcare, it's all about awareness. Are you aware of what's going on in your body at this particular point in time? If you're not aware, then something can potentially happen later on down the road. So we love doing pop-ups, pop up wherever you are. Let me take your blood pressure now. This isn't a diagnosis, but you need to know what's happening at this particular point in time. So I've always been about giving, 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 giving. That's the only way I feel alive. I don't feel alive any other kind of way. I buy whatever. There's only so many cars you can get, there's only so many pair of shoes you can have. They all serve the same purpose. But when you help someone, that served a different purpose. That's always a different purpose when you're trying to help individuals. I think the last thing I absolutely want to say is, in life, there's several different components, several moving parts, but three things that you always have to keep in your heart, and that's belief. Belief in the idea, belief that I'm standing here in front of you, belief that you can hear, belief that you were born and birthed from your mother. You have to believe in any idea the same way you believe that you actually exist, because that's the only way anything can exist. So you have to believe. Once you believe in that idea, it's like planting a seed. You water that seed until it blooms. So believe and bloom. Allow the idea to bloom. Allow it to blossom. And you have to make sure that you balance it in your life, because if anything is too high or anything is too low, you're not going to get the synergy you need in order for the full blooming of the plant to occur. And then once you believe and you bloom and that one flower has occurred, then you can make it boom. You could have a field of those ideas proliferating through the world. So believe, bloom, and boom. That's my message to you.